Hello, this is Russell from
Tones of Evil.
and you're listening to Capes and Lunatics.
Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to make sure you know all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on all new episodes of Wade's World, Boob Windows and Long Boxes, our Hard R movie reviews, and so much more, all completely uncensored. Access starts for as little as $1 a month, full videos when you pledge $3 a month. Check us out at the link in all of our show notes, or just go straight to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. Newly clean-shaven and ready to rumble. With me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits.
Phil, me, and Perich.
He's the one, the man, the myth, the legend. Philip, welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie.
Oh goodness, man! This is a lot of stuff going on, a lot of turmoil in the week. One of the news stories, I didn't tell you about this, but it's all over a certain subgroup. Lowcast has ceased operations as of today. For those who do not know, Lowcast is an entity that basically takes everything in your broadcast area or in certain broadcast areas that you should be able to receive, and then gives you access to them over the internet.
Oh.
They recently lost because essentially if you didn't support them with a $5 a month donation, they would essentially interrupt your feed with commercials saying, hey, we're glad that you're watching, we provide this service for you as a nonprofit, but it would be really helpful if you'd give us money. Which, to be fair, they did way more than PBS ever did. So, their whole, listener-supported, viewer-supported stuff kind of fell flat.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with this is that now I no longer have access easily to the CW. I no longer have access to MeTV. I've got to buy an upgraded antenna to see if this time it'll work, Because my old antenna stopped working. I had an old antenna that got everything, then it stopped picking up MeTV and CW, although it was always spotty with CW to start with. And so now I'm back to basics here, where I may not be able to live tweet Stargirl going forward. So, to me, it's a big deal. Maybe not to everyone else, but,
Well, do you have some kind of cable package through AT&T, did you say?
Well, now and that just, yeah. So AT&T, which owns DirecTV, keeps on changing. They have a streaming service through AT&T that was originally DirecTV, or it was like DirecTV. It was called DirecTV Now. Then it became ATT Now, and then it was ATT TV Now, and now it's called D-Stream.
Oh.
I do not know who in marketing said D-Stream for the DirecTV product, but
No.
Oh, my friend, you should always go to a 4th grade class and market test what you're calling your product before you decide to call it D-Stream.
Yeah.
But D-Stream it is, and now I have my D-Stream. Yeah, and it is what it is. But the thing is that it doesn't carry MeTV, and it does not carry Channel 11 in my neighborhood, which is the CW. And it's weird, like, the CW is kind of like weird in its uniqueness that it is the one channel no one seems to want to carry. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I don't know what laws or rules are on the books with this stuff at this moment. But yeah, I'm guessing that Warner's is charging too much for the digital content, and they're using low power enough amplifiers that they don't many terrestrial cable companies don't technically have to carry them.
Well, I wonder how much CW charges too, because I think every night they might have maybe 2 hours of original programming. Like I know here it's like 2 hours of original programming. Then I think there's some version of our local news, and then like the rest of the day and night is just I think syndicated stuff.
Yeah, I mean I don't quite understand it either, but for whatever reason, that's where the line gets drawn. So. At least here in New Jersey. But we're getting through it. We will find out what our next choices are. And quite frankly, if I don't get to watch my Svengoolie, I will be sad. But will it end the world? No, it will not end the world. But to me, it's like this major kind of like a shakeup in the thing. What the actual precipitating event was apparently there was a legal case where it was decided that Locast couldn't interrupt the feeds that they were providing to people with these ads saying, please subscribe, which would then disappear once you did subscribe. So apparently it was determined that this was actually a value-added service, and so yada, yada, yada. They couldn't do those ads anymore. And because it was no longer I thought, they could just easily restructure their advertising budget, but they decided not to. They decided to just say, well, screw it. We're done. Which is, your typical short-sighted business strategy, which sadly too many businesses have. And now I got to make sure my bank doesn't, give them my $5 a month donation next month. So, fun times. What else is there?
We got TV shows this week.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of TV shows, but we also have. I wanted because there's speculation and then there's speculation. First speculation is Clark Gregg. Now, I think I sent you that article link, and it's an interview with Clark Gregg where he's basically saying, I have, everyone had this question about whether or not this was canon and this wasn't canon, and and here's what I think is the central point is, he called Kevin Feige because he's got his number, which just sort of, if immediately right there should tell you something about the relationship between Clark Gregg and Marvel Studios. So he called Kevin Feige and said, hey, Kevin, what's going on with all this? And what Kevin said, and what, more importantly, it's not just that Kevin apparently said this, it's that Clark Gregg is saying in open fan court, that Kevin Feige said this. And what he said was, it's still close to the best, but what he said was, I do not underestimate for a minute the power of the fans of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Netflix properties. Which is basically what I've said all along. It's like, yeah, there's a big fandom out there. I mean, that's how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. even got to be a thing, was the whole Coulson Lives meme pushed out there by fans that refused to accept whatever they said, no, that's not how superhero stories work. You don't just get to kill people, we get to have feedback. And in this massive story go round of storytelling, fans pushed back and Coulson did in fact live. And now with the restructuring, Feige's saying, I am well aware of the fan desire to see Netflix and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. continuity blended in some way.
And again, I mean, you could easily blend stuff in after Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Well, we assume that's a whole other bag of hammers.
I'm just saying, if they want to, that's their excuses, the ways they can fold stuff in.
Well, I mean, that's the question. Because again, we know so little about either Multiverse of Madness or No Way Home.
Mephisto will get it done.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, this is what we said, like when we were first talking about the trailer for No Way Home. It's like, they're giving away so much baby with this bathwater. you gotta think it's a misdirect.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got this week's episode of What If, with sort of, which is an interesting take on it, because this goes into a whole bunch of different levels of stuff.
Oh yeah,
especially what is meant by a fixed point in time, which I still think people are misunderstanding. Because the idea is, it's not that Doctor Strange can't bring someone back from the dead. It's that if he brought someone back from the dead, his timeline becomes a branch, a divergent, which maybe gets pruned by the TVA, maybe doesn't.
Well, I think it makes it redundant, maybe that, because spoilers, he does save Christine. Well, guess what? She didn't die in the reality we saw in the movie, so again, a redundant timeline. So nature or TVA or whoever's going to wipe out that one.
Well, see, that's the interesting question about No Way Home. Because, yes, Christine didn't die in the main MCU timeline, but it's been 5 years, my friend.
Oh, true.
We don't know if she was blipped.
Ooh.
We don't know what happened to her. Because let's say she wasn't blipped, and over the last 5 years, something else happened. And Strange comes back, and she is gone for good. And then maybe Spidey coming in and saying, hey, could you readjust the multiverse? And Strange says, well, I'm not doing it for me.
No.
But what if something else happened in this time? What if something else happened in this time? And that is actually one of the interesting questions I have, because we get introduced to a new character in this by the name of, what is it, Dabong?
Oh, the librarian?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. Just pulling up the IMDb real quick. Oh, that's Wikipedia. Well,
I found it interesting that the Ancient One was able to split the timeline, so there was two Doctor Stranges. One.
Well, I get the idea that you can always split the timeline.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not someone's going to come in and snap it back. And for what it's worth, when Doctor Strange splits the time, when she does that, what she actually is doing is trapping that Doctor Strange into a time loop.
Yeah.
Where he can never solve the problem, because and this is where the idea of paradox comes in. So this is what goes into Endgame's logic. So when they say, oh, if we go back in time, it can't affect our future. What's technically the point of this is that if they go back in time and take a stone or whatever, they're not going back to change time. They're going back to do something. So their desire to still create time travel, etc., and go back in time remains. But when the impetus for you to learn how to time travel is to fix the past, you can't fix the past, because then you wouldn't be able to travel back to the past. So you can travel back to the past, but that is not going to actually work, because the entire reason you can travel back to the past is because of this occurrence. So arguably, the universe just keeps on causing the same outcome, because you can't go back to a point that requires that would be undone by you traveling back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that it is a semi-linear time stream where you can go back and you can make alterations to the future, but that because going back to alter the future would prevent certain things, you can't accomplish that thing. So the idea being that you can go back to the past and you can, do something that maybe affects the world when you get back, but it's going to be something that affects the world in such a small way that it would not be a precipitating event to prevent you from being able to travel back in the past in the first place. And this goes into this idea about reasonable variations on the timeline. You can go back, you can make some changes, but if the reason to go back is to make the change to change the timeline, that will result in a paradox. But just going back without concern about paradox allows you to do whatever you want, because you're not trying to recreate your future. You're trying to go back to your future point and accomplish something, and to do so you have to go back in time to do something to do it. So it's an interestingly, logically consistent internal time travel philosophy. I applaud Marvel for doing the legwork on this. I always because I really feel that too many people, they'll start with an internal logic of time travel, and then they'll just decide to ignore it at some point.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Marvel said, no. There's a reason why. And the reason why you can go back in time and create a variant timeline is because you're not from that timeline. You're not going back to change your timeline. It's the changing of a singular timeline that is problematic to you as a time traveler.
And I love the end where Strange could see the Watcher and interact with him.
Oh yeah. Although that is an interesting thing about the Watcher, because obviously you have to imagine that the Watcher is always visible to people with a certain perception level, but that generally speaking, you would not be able to view the Watcher.
Or unless you want to let Strange see him, because he's you know what, everything's about to be destroyed anyway, so it don't really matter if he knows I'm here or not.
Well, even before then, he saw him.
Yeah.
And that is always that interesting question about Uatu, is does he let people see him because he's trying to affect the outcome?
Yeah.
That's how he can affect the outcome. Because we see all the time in comic books people who aren't the Sorcerer Supreme of the universe seeing him. And I kind of feel like, this is sort of him when Strange sort of gets the sense he's being watched. That's Uatu letting him be seen. And it is his own subtle way to say, maybe this is a bad idea. What you're trying to do maybe isn't a good idea. But there's another character in this that I do want to talk about real quick. And that is a character we have not ever met before. Let me get to the episode. Oh, that's 5. Oh, that's next episode.
I was going to say, this was 4. I mean, there's only 9 this season, so we're kind of around the halfway mark already.
But I want to talk about
the librarian character. Yeah.
Yeah, Ikamadi, who plays Obang. Now, Ikamadi, I'm not going to say he looks exactly like Obang, but he looks enough like Obang that if they had him in either No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness, you would know who he was when he showed up.
Ah.
Especially they put the little face tattoo on him, and he's doing the voice. Because I think that's an interesting question about when because when you have all of these original MCU cast members in the voice cast, and then you introduce a completely new character, and then you go at some point and you introduce that character in the live action MCU, and then you can use that same actor for that voice, does it open up this opportunity for them to, when they are looking at recasting, to look for the actress or actor who looks like the character that could do the character in the film, but you want them for the voice first, so that when you replace that character and this new actor shows up, the minute you hear their voice, you go, oh, that's this character, that's that character. And it poses a unique opportunity for them with a character like T'Challa, that next season, if they tell stories of T'Challa, and since arguably there's going to be a Guardians of the Multiverse at the end of this. That's the big theory. If they cast somebody as T'Challa in that, and then come Black Panther 3, because we know that T'Challa is going to be an off-screen presence in Black Panther 2. But I don't think they're going to have him be dead. He's going to be the king. He's on a mission. And then it's going to be hinted at. And then when he comes back, if it's this voice that now, a season later, we've been conditioned to hear as Black Panther, are people going to go, oh, that's Black Panther? Sort of in the way that everybody wants that laugh to be Willem Dafoe's laugh in the No Way Home trailer.
Oh my god, I heard another theory about No Way Home, that trailer. That scene where he looks like he's wearing like a suit and tie and stuff. They're like, that's the same one Tobey Maguire was wearing in Spider-Man 3. So there's another theory now. Maybe he's like quantum leaping around. Maybe he leaps into Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and that's when he meets Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. We don't know yet.
We do see Strange seem to knock Peter out of his body, so.
There's a lot going on in all of this, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders if there is going to be an aspect of this that is, like I said, maybe it is just, and of course after this recent What If, there's this whole thought, oh, what if that's not our universe is Doctor Strange, but the Doctor Strange from the dead universe that has now come into this one to try and fix his problems. There's a lot of possibilities here. But yeah, I mean, all I want is Nicholas Hammond, Uncle Ben. I'll be very happy. Because he actually looks like a good Uncle Ben. I don't know if you've seen any recent pictures of him. He's 79. He looks like Uncle Ben, and so I'm down with it. And if we do some flashbacks with Uncle Ben, or maybe even a universe where Uncle Ben didn't die, that's always good. Tristan and I were watching the 90s Into the Spider-Verse. The last 2 episodes of the 90s Spider-Man. And, Uncle Ben is alive in the Batman Spider-Verse. With the one where Spider-Man never has bad luck. Things just always work out for him. And I was actually thinking, wow, man, wouldn't it be great if we are doing multiple universes, that we go to that universe where Uncle Ben's alive? And wouldn't that be great if that was Nicholas Hammond? So that's my hope. What's your question, Tristan?
In live action, do you think it would be a different Spider-Man actor, or if it was an alternate version of one of the Spider-Man actors, which one would it be? Would it be Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or? Well,
I'm talking Nicholas Hammond right now, and actually, I even
if that person was in live action, would it be Nicholas Hammond or the other?
Well, I mean, it depends. I was actually talking with other people that getting Nicholas Hammond back for Old Man Spider-Man in the Wasteland series would be just brilliant casting. Oh, by the way, Tristan wanted this on air for the video. This is Toxin.
Oh, nice.
A well-articulated, new giant-sized monster that he purchased.
It's very cool, and it even has little mouths.
Yeah, it has little mouths, as you can see. That's Screamer. And yeah, so this was what he bought with some money today. Went to the comic, and I knew he was going to buy it. I knew he was going to buy it for a while. And I told him, because I actually had them put it off for a bit. And she was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to buy it. I don't know. But then we went today, and he said, I'm buying it. So he wanted to share this with the audience. So there you go. Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, you got to see the Toxin that my son bought. So anyway, moving right along, Stargirl.
Yes.
So, Eclipso is really awful as a being, and is, honestly, why the dragon's daughter is, so easily manipulated by the scary voice in her head. It's like, oh no, I'm just doing this to help. It's like, it even has a scary voice. You know, I know your dad was the dragon, and so maybe that's just how you think people sound.
Maybe it reminds her of her dad.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just very, very, very disappointed in the Dragon's Daughter's easy manipulation. Although it is interesting because it actually opens up an interesting idea. Because we see within this already this bond between our man and Solomon Grundy. We can see the Shade is sort of clearly being set up to be, if not an anti-hero, at least, an anti-villain, maybe.
Yeah.
Like his goal is not to do evil, but just he is purely selfish. But when our needs align, he is a powerful and great ally,
Yeah.
And he is also the one person who understands how dangerous the diamond is and doesn't really trust anyone else to try and bring it in.
I mean, if you were an immortal, would you trust, all these, especially teenagers who've only,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it manipulates your perceptions. And... but that is sort of the idea, is that, the characters in this, I'm trying to, Sportsmaster and Tiger, is it? Or
Tigress, yeah.
Tigress, yeah. And how they really love their daughter,
Mm-hmm.
In their big, goofy, middle-class parents' ways, and,
Oh, yeah, they got out of jail to see her play football, yeah.
Yeah, well, because they wanted it. And then she loses her shot at Nebraska because the coach says, yeah, you play great, but you clearly have anger issues. Why did you attack those people on the side of the plane? And it's not that you can just say, well, clearly there was, mystical manipulation, because you do know that this is a universe where superheroes exist, right? Which is one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, superheroes exist. I forgot about this. This is Earth 1. There was a JSA here with a Green Lantern and a Flash and all that stuff.
Yeah, but no one saw anything. You know how many teenagers in that universe are probably like, you can't give me attention. I was being mind controlled. Yeah. See?
Yeah, but, no, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
no one ever uses that as their first excuse. But they're kids. They don't know any better. That's the thing. Is like, Bucky, I was mind controlled. So, well, then have a full pardon. That, because when you're an adult superhero, like, it was mind control. All them people I killed, it wasn't me. It was the mind control.
I don't know if he got a full pardon. I mean, in the comics, he was Captain America. The minute the public found out, that the Russians used him as a mind, they're like, nah, you're out, kid.
I'm just saying he's still running around as Captain America, so whatever else you want to say about it, he's not being held responsible to the fullest extent of the law. That much we can say.
I mean,
about young James Buchanan Barnes.
I'm sure Fury got him off the hook, because, I mean, look who Fury uses. Black Widow, former
spy.
She was conditioned to kill, and...
Yeah, but I don't know if she ever actually killed anyone on the books.
Wow.
I don't know if you could ever tie the crimes back to her. That's the difference, you see.
Oh, so one was sloppy and one was not. Okay.
Well, Well, no, the problem is that James Buchanan Barnes admitted it. I don't think most people knew. None of us knew what went on in Budapest. Maybe some people know who were looking the other way, but it wasn't like public record.
And I think sometimes the Russians wanted to make a very public spectacle.
Yeah, so that's that. But no, I like Stargirl, but this was actually something I found very interesting, and it is this idea of talking down villains.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think that's something we're going to see in Stargirl. Of course, it is the main thematic of Steven Universe. But where I realized that this actually had a lot of traction in? Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh.
The one from the, was that the early aughts or the late teens or the early teens?
Maybe early teens.
Yeah, But you watch it, and so many of the villains on it are just other people that Peter then talks down. Mm-hmm. And they become friends with. In fact, by the end of it, he has talked down Doc Ock. And Doc Ock is going to be a hero now. And I actually kind of like that. I like that idea for Spider-Man, for the characters, for everyone involved, you know? And this idea of talking to supervillains, it's interesting that this is so much more of a theme in our mass media now. That if only we have a good argument, like T'Challa says in episode 2 of What If, that is your most potent weapon when he effectively disarms Thanos. Mm. You know, I think there's some great strength in that. So, yeah. I think that's what I wanted to talk today about mass media. Obviously, Shang-Chi comes out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I have my tickets. Me and Tristan and John, who's my friend's kid, we're all going to go see Shang-Chi together. And we're very excited because it's gonna be big. I've already bought the tickets, so it's set. Helping Shang-Chi get to get to 50 million, because that's the goal for the weekend. Because it's still pandemic, you know.
Yeah.
But they feel like, hey, you know, we're on track to hit 50 million, which is like a triumph in this day and age, because they're not releasing it on Disney Plus. It is going to have a short window. I think it's like a 2-week window or a 1-week window, and then it gets to on demand.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's exclusively theater.
Yeah, I mean, this is Labor Day weekend, though, so it might get an extra day on Monday, though, too. People will be off.
Oh, they're going to stretch what they define as the weekend.
Yeah, but I'm just
saying,
I'm just saying they might get some good ticket sales on Monday, too, just because everyone's off.
Yeah. But,
I don't know if you opened that article I sent you, but yeah, everyone knows Abomination's going to show up fighting Wong and Shang-Chi. But also it said, and then after that, Abomination's going to show up in She-Hulk.
Well, you know, and that's an interesting thing. I mean, I do believe it. I do think Tim Roth is reprising his role. This does confirm that it is Tim Roth. Mm-hmm. Although, what they actually say is they got Tim Roth in to give some sound for it. So, what exactly that means? Are they overlaying sounds? You know,
it's getting punched.
Well, you know, for what it's worth, you know. Hey, they pay him the same whether he says or, you know, does not Abomination have eyes? You know,
and again, you know, if you put him in the CG rig, you know, he'll move just like he, you know, it'll be the same move body language as in the Hulk movie. Yeah. So, see,
yeah. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. You know, well, and I guess maybe that's their point, is that, you know, since they can put anyone in that CG rig, you know, maybe they're just gonna stick just a good stunt fighter into it to fight Wong. Mm. Although good old Wong, man, I love him, but you know, he's a dad bod. There's no denying it. And
I mean, unless he uses some...
Dad bods are known for power. They're not known for flexibility for cinematic fighting. That's all I'm saying on that.
Yeah, but is he going to use some kind of spell on himself or something?
Yeah, well, he's going to be doing the spells. And actually, more recent thing, he's all over it. Because we see him later where he's opening doors for Shang-Chi and the gang. Mm-hmm. So they have pulled out all the stops. The only person I haven't seen yet in a trailer... from the MCU, who is of APAC origin, is Jimmy Woo. But I haven't ruled it out yet. I think Jimmy Woo... I mean, I pray it's Jimmy Woo and Darcy in the end credit scene, but it might just be Jimmy Woo, because I don't think people knew about the love that Woo and Darcy were going to have by the time they were shooting. So, you know.
I mean, he might make a quick cameo. You know, somebody might get on the phone to him and, you know, he's answering a question or, you know, giving information or something.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine there'd be, like I said, I'm imagining what the end credit scene is going to be. We've already established the Countessa Vanessa Allegra de Fontaine end credits in Falcon Winter Soldier and Black Widow, so it would not surprise me if we don't get a similar end credits in this that is somehow touching base with the Contessa. Maybe the Contessa mating with the Mandarin. Because, if we're looking at her building her own Dark Avengers, it may not be Shang-Chi that she's meeting with, So, it's interesting. We're going to see where it all goes. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this film. But, we'll see that. Do you want to talk a couple of comic books real quick here, Phil?
Sure.
Speaking of, well, of nothing. Let's talk about Avengers 48.
Yes.
And this is, the Gorilla Man's lament.
Mm-hmm.
Even as we're going through Jen Walters as the ultimate blonde killing machine with gamma breath, which I thought was a nice touch, but that she's bringing Hale with them. But, I gotta say, at the end of the day, the entire premise of the Russian plan doesn't make a lot of sense. Given that, Namor has bested the Hulk underwater. Like the Bruce Banner Hulk, he's bested underwater. So, I don't know what you're really... I guess their real plan is, well, we really just want to murder all the Atlanteans and all that. And we've got our little failsafe.
Well, the whole point isn't it was like, Dracula wanted some Hulk blood, and then it's like, hey, to the Russians, hey, you want to take a slightly used She-Hulk off my hands for a cheap price? And the Russians are like, hey, another decommissioned weapon we can throw at Namor. Okay.
Yeah. But which then they arguably send to kill all the vampires.
Yeah.
So, Blade's doing the cleanup on it, of course, as he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Every one of them's dead.
Because he's stabbing one. Yeah, she killed them all.
Yeah. Although you kind of feel like there's building to a reset because they're like, oh, yeah, you got necrotic tissue in your Avengers space god.
Yeah. I'm thinking we're losing that celestial mountain soon.
Yeah, Oh, wait. I got to write in because I have to write in for the Snow Prize. What is wrong with this picture, Phil?
That she can hear him even though he's not facing her because she's supposed to be deaf, so she can't read his lips.
Exactly, but you know what he's doing? See how he has his hand extended? He's sign languaging it. Some special one-handed Wakandan sign language he bothered to teach her. So that he could walk away from her and still talk.
Or, she's rocking the Phoenix, too. Could the Phoenix be translating somehow?
Well, no, because in the previous issue, that exact situation came up where someone was talking when they weren't looking at her, and she couldn't hear them. So I get the feeling that, no, she does have to see your mouth to know what you're saying, or you have to be doing some kind of body language to her. And so I'm going to write in, I'm going to get my second no prize for that. Don't steal it, people. Come on, I'm slow to write letters. But you'll see when she's talking to Thor actually does turn back before he says anything. He actually, so you can understand that. So clearly there's a thing there to be no prized. I do love this. I love She-Hulk and Man-Ape in a rowboat.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I almost want that as a tattoo because it's like such an old vaudevillian trope. There, he's like, you almost imagine him singing to her, but obviously this is his sad lament. But this is the thing. As he's doing all this and he's talking, and he realizes that he does have a fatal wound. There is this idea that he's always trying to reach out to She-Hulk to say, prove to me that you really are a hero. The kind of hero that I never could be. But what happens at the very end, Phil, after he's convinced himself he's going to die, that one of these Atlanteans is going to wake up tomorrow with a big hairy secret. He puts on his oxygen mask, which, for what it's worth, immediately raises this question: like, could he have killed himself? What happens in that situation? But
yeah, I don't know.
Puts on his oxygen mask and goes into the water to be a hero. That's the point, Phil. He really is a hero, despite what he thinks. So, I really like that book. Do you have any book you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, I want to throw out two real quick. The one I'll recommend to you, Sinister War #4.
Ooh.
All these villains are, just beating on Spider-Man because they're all being controlled by Kindred because of those little earworm things.
Oh, earworms.
But someone takes out every single one of those earworms with a device that he cobbled together. And who is that man, Charlie Esser?
Well, obviously it had to be the superior Dr. Octopus.
Otto Octavius, because he is no man's puppet.
Exactly. Please. Who do you think you're dealing with, you freaking demonic charlatan?
Oh, I'm sorry. The actual quote is, I threw off Kindred's chains. Otto Octavius is a slave to no one.
Exactly. Well, of course he's not. He writes his own destiny. The die is cast, Philip. Oh, he's just I am so glad he's back. I mean,
oh yeah,
I'm glad Alfred Molina's back. That they're de-aging him. It's fine. But I'm glad to have Doc Ock back. I would really love to have a real MCU Doc Ock, because you can't just keep on de-aging Alfred Molina every time he shows up on film.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get a good Doc Ock that way.
Because Spider-Man's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, I didn't do it for you. He's like, Kindred promised me answers, and, he reneged on our deal. So guess what? He's like, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into his...
Yeah.
So, yeah, I figured you should read that because, that's Otto being full Otto.
I will definitely read that. Yeah.
I was going to say, Dark Age is #1.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get to read that either. Yes.
Oh, it's pretty good because, it's like, guessing it's an alternate timeline. Yeah, it starts with Peter and Mary Jane and their young daughter Annie hanging out with Luke and Jessica and Danny.
Oh, in that universe.
Yep, that's right.
Yes, that's the what was it? Not Remnant, Regent universe.
Mm-hmm. But then the spider senses start going off like mad, and there's something big must be coming because guess who shows up to his old friends, the Fantastic Four? Uatu.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Uatu. Now this is the newly reformed Uatu.
What? I guess, yeah. I mean, again, it's like a different timeline. So.
Oh, it is a different timeline. That's right. I forgot about that different timeline issue.
Because yes, there's something coming out of the Earth, a 10 billion year old machine that was like built far off in space somewhere, like 10 billion years ago, that was built to like destroy like I guess black holes or something, but then it just like ran amok and started like destroying planets and stuff. So it gets originally it got taken out by your new favorite plot device, the Living Tribunal.
Yay!
It was deactivated and then imprisoned in the center of a newly forming world, Charlie Esser. That world.
Oh.
Earth.
Why? Why is this Earth so... Why do they... And it is just this idea, like, really? Are there no other planets you guys could go to? Why not?
So yeah, they pick a team to go into the center of the Earth to like try to stop this thing. Doctor Strange, Sue Storm, or Sue Richards, Ben Grimm, the Vision, and Scarlet Witch, and basically everyone gets killed till it gets down to the Doctor Strange and the Invisible Woman. Doctor Strange opens a portal which kind of like generates like an electromagnetic pulse that takes this thing out, but then the thing kills him before he can shut the portal. So the EMP hits the entire planet.
Oh, goodness.
Which gets us to our Dark Ages. Because all...
so it's Visionaries, but with superheroes.
I guess, because, at the end we show, every machine on Earth went dead, and, Peter's telling the story. That was 7 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they could just build another machine. That's not how EMPs generally work. They don't make all technology not work for 7 years.
Well, I will say it was Doctor Strange magic opening a portal. I guess it was another dimension that had the properties of an EMP.
Okay.
So it's magic. So
maybe it went through all the universe and all technology is shut down. So the only thing that works anymore is technology.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Or is magic.
I didn't notice that before. Yeah, at the end, it seems like Apocalypse is building his own little army or something. Is that Reed in the back? Somebody has
Maybe.
flexible fingers.
Well, or it could be skin. They got some stretchy mutants, man.
True.
But
yeah, I guess I don't know if it's Tony Stark in there or not, but supposedly there's going to be some kind of Iron Man with a steam, it's going to be a steam-powered Iron Man, steampunk Iron Man.
Okay. Yeah. Did you read Checkmate?
Yeah, that was last week. Yes, I did.
Oh, that was it. Why was it in this week's pile of books? I guess it didn't come in on time. I have no idea what's happening. They keep on jumping back and forth in this story.
That's Bendis for you.
Yeah, it doesn't work well. They're doing it. I get the feeling like it's supposed to be like a heist plot where it's oh, but really I was doing this and the whole time that, and then this and then the other and then these other things.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that, because Tom King's even doing that in the Batman Catwoman 12-issue series, and it's very weird because it's it'll jump from page to page. It'll be past, present, or future, but it's it'll a page or two and it'll swap, and it's just I'm getting confused.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I think it works. First off, it works in a heist film because you don't do that till the end.
Yeah.
In a heist film, what you do is you lay out a plot, and then you show, oh, but here's some other stuff that you didn't realize that, that was happening. Actually, we went back and did this. And while that was happening, we did the triple cross, and that's when we did that. But as they're doing it, it's getting, it came off. Robin came off because I did read, I caught up on my Robins this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both coming off. I mean, Robin's still good. It was nice with him and the other Robins, and also kind of a weird thing because at no point is poor old Tim Drake saying, "Technically, I'm Robin now, so maybe you guys shouldn't say Robin because I'm actually Robin. It's I'm the official Robin, so maybe don't say you're Robin, Damien. Maybe just say you're Damien. You didn't want to be Robin, so if you wanted to stop." Poor Tim Drake. But he's just, he's being Robin too. And he's dressed as Robin. It's actually nice. And Dick Grayson gives him the gift of, I guess, a trapeze bar that used to be in his parents' old show where they died. Because that's something Alfred gave him.
Yes.
And, yeah, and it was neat, but it was that's kind of weirdly morbid and dark, man. I don't know. I don't know about that, but I enjoyed it. I won't say I didn't enjoy it, but I'm also dropping Robin because, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
One book I'm not dropping is Howard Chaykin's Hey Kids.
Hey Kids Comics.
Which it is his, honestly, somebody buy this. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe Howard Chaykin charges an arm and a leg for creator's rights to adapt his work. You have to adapt Hey Kids as a ongoing series in some prestige format. This is Mad Men with superheroes, kids. Ooh. This is what you want. This is going to ping the audience in just the right way. Mark my words. Someone needs to buy Hey Kids, put it in a prestige format. HBO Max, Disney Plus even, Hulu, I'm looking at you. Pay Howard Chaykin the money, adapt his works. This is some of the best writing out there about internecine office squabbles about comic books. If there's anything that says late-stage capitalism, internecine business squabbles about comic books is it. Oh, and I think next issue we go into the 80s, man. We're about to go into the big bust, or the big boom. And then maybe even Chaykin. And for what it's worth, like, Howard Chaykin, he has been in comics forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Betty White of comics. He may actually be an immortal. And if he gets us to the 2000s and beyond, and the superhero megapolis boom, it is going to be an interesting story to tell. But, highly recommend Hey Kids Comics. Volume 2, Profit and Loss. What actual issue number is this? Issue 5. Oh, and at the end they have, are you ready for this? The first black superhero comes to town, downtown, Bishop Midnight, Funk Warrior.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. He is awesome.
Yeah.
That's that. A book I picked up this week is We Only Found Them When I did not finish it. And again, this is one of these books that it is a great book, but it almost feels like now I don't feel like they're writing these books to be read as comic books anymore, not even as trades, but they're just writing for, this would make a great prestige series on HBO Max. Because, again, the sci-fi drama of Celestials and human politics is a beautiful and interesting story. But I kind of feel like its translation in the monthly comic book format kind of hits some roadblocks. But I still enjoy it, and I still like it.
Wait, what book is that?
But that is We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Number 8. Yeah, you see, the gods provide is keep the harvest. That's like the political slogan there about harvesting dead celestials for food. Yay! All right, Philip, I think that's everything I've got. Anything you want to talk about before we head out of here?
No, I'm good.
So then, Philip, how can people find us if they want to talk to us?
The easiest way, well, if you want to talk to us, you can always email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can find links to all our social media, the YouTube channel, the Patreon, the merch, everything all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things whenever I can, which will probably be not as much as I'd like to because Lowcast is no longer giving me the channels I used to get. At Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. Yes, SCR. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another exciting episode of Superconnectivity. I certainly hope you have felt connected. I connected with you, and I hope next week you come back and super connect with us again. Good night.
Good night.
That was a good episode.
They're all good episodes.
They're all good episodes. It's all wonderful. Philip.
This is all this man thinks about. Doctor Strange and, the multiverse.
Doctor Strange, Dr. Octopus. If you're a doctor, I'm India.
Except for that college dropout dude.
Not a real doctor.
The swamp, more than merely a place. It is a churning, seething, bubbling bed of life, of which you are a part. Once you were a man, a chemist named Ted Sallis, until one little experiment went somewhat awry. And you changed. The serum that was to have made you a super soldier combined with the strange forces in the swamp to make you over into this, a shambling, mindless mockery of your former humanity. The macabre Man-Thing. Man-Thing was created in the early 1970s to capitalize on the growing monster craze, but under writer Steve Gerber it became something quite different. Experimental, surreal, and very, very weird. It was something I loved as a kid, but does it still hold up today, 4 decades after its initial publication? So join me, Paul Matthew Carr, as I attempt to make sense of this cult classic and analyze each issue, putting it in the context of the time it was written and comparing it to the standards of today. And maybe you too can come to love the world's second most famous swamp-based comic book character as much as I do. The Nexus of All Realities, a Man-Thing podcast, a twice-monthly dive into the bizarre.